Wah! You're going to hold out in a basketball season when you're 34, you're at the tail end of your career, you're making $35.6 million, and you're complaining about who you're playing for? What are you, a moron? If I was a Philadelphia 76er fan right now, and the season were to start, and he is forced to be in that lineup, what would you think the fans are going to do to him when he steps on that court? He don't want to be there. He wants to be traded no matter what. He has given up on the Nets. He gave up on the Rockets. Everywhere he's gone. OKC, he wanted to be the number one guy. He gave up on his two best friends. He forced his way out of there because he was never going to be the guy or the second guy from Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant. He goes to the Rockets. He was there a couple of years, always failed in the playoffs because the guy's a choke artist. Then he forces his way to play with his best friend, Kevin Durant, in Brooklyn. With Kyrie Irving, he couldn't get along with Kyrie Irving, and he forced his way out to the 76ers, and now he's forcing his way out of the 76ers to go to the Clippers. What is he going to cry about if he gets traded over there? Kawhi Leonard being a pain in the ass? It is embarrassing. And by the way, the 76ers should find a way to move this guy because he's nothing but a cancer. Him and Kyrie Irving are two cancers in a locker room you do not want. And the fact that he has the balls to go out there and throw anybody, a general manager, an owner, a coach, which he's thrown coaches under the bus many, many times. Oh, yeah. Him and Kyrie Irving are complete jokes. And that's the NBA. You could take Adam Silver for this. Because if David Stern was alive and he was still running this league, none of these players would be even thinking that they run this league. It all started when Adam Silver took over. LeBron's storyline took over ever since David Stern retired and gave the reins to Adam Silver. And I think David Stern was really not healthy, and that's why he decided to walk away as the commissioner of the NBA, and he was dealing with, may rest in peace, probably one of the best commissioners in professional sports in this era. He changed everything for the NBA.
But even if you look at some of those other instances of drama we've seen with these NBA players, like LeBron, yeah, he did the thing at the end of his Cleveland tenure, and then he went to Miami. Was there any, real drama besides maybe the first year in Miami when he was in Miami? Not as much. Then there was the offseason, he went back to Cleveland. That was a lot of hype, understandable. Once he got there, it was really only that one trade deadline that everyone was like, oh, why are they trading for all these old people when they brought in J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert, and all those guys? Yeah. James Harden, this has happened now 3 times in 4 years. They only just got traded from the Rockets 2 years ago to the Nets. Then the Nets fall apart, Kyrie Irving, the whole COVID thing and all the anti-Semitic stuff, and he wants out of there at the end of 2021.
He was traded for Ben Simmons.
Simmons in 2022. Both teams are regretting that badly because now James Harden, a year and a half later, has no relationship with a guy in Daryl Morey that he's known for his whole Rockets career. When he was drafted in 2009, he was there for 3 years, and all of a sudden he thinks he's like the worst guy on the planet all of a sudden.
Because he wants his extension and he won't give it to him.
And how's that going to look to another team trying to trade for you? Your executive saying, oh, I don't like this guy.
You're a 34-year-old basketball player, and you're still a very young man. But in basketball years, you're old. And that's what's happening to Steph Curry. That's what's happening to all the great players in this league. When you hit that 31, 32 mark, you're at the tail end of your career. Those 20s, when you see Jokic right now, he's 27. He's starting to hit his top end of his game. For the next 3 or 4 years, look, the Greek Freak, how many years does he have at the top of his game? 3? That's your career. That's why you're making all this money. That's why you're fighting for all these extensions. But you're not the same player you once were. And James Harden is the prototypical type of offensive player you don't want.
And also, you look at what happened to Russell Westbrook recently, too. Now, Russell Westbrook wasn't as vocal in his comments like James Harden either. But you look at somebody like him that had a big usage rate. And James Harden, him or Russell Westbrook in the last 7 years has led the league in usage rate. As a result, that has worn Russell Westbrook down. And that's why nobody wanted to trade for him. And that's why he only got that discount contract when he signed with the Clippers over there and stayed there. And James Harden might have to go in that same boat. In addition to all this drama, the Sixers are not going to get the trade value they're going to want for him. And Daryl Morey, because he's very extreme, is going to push for it. But still, that's going to lead to not a lot of good longevity for James Harden either.
100%.
Is any team going to want to say, oh, I'm going to go re-sign you after all these comments and all this recent history? 4 years, 3 different trade requests.
Horrible.
We've never seen that before.
No, I don't think we've ever seen a player or 2 players like Kyrie Irving and James Harden. And they'll always be remembered. Hall of Fame or not Hall of Fame, which they both are going to the Hall of Fame because everybody goes to the Hall of Fame. We're not going to remember their game and how they played. We're going to remember the stupidity on and off the court that these 2 idiots have really brought to the league.
Think about that. Obviously, the Baseball Hall of Fame should not be praised in any way for their super extreme voting in the other direction. But if the Basketball Hall of Fame had the voting system of the Baseball Hall of Fame, those 2 guys wouldn't receive a vote.